Hi y'all, welcome back. In the month of March, I always do 5 videos a week, and it's always a busy time anyways, so might as well do videos. This year, I've decided to do money saving tips, so let's call it Money Saving March. Every video might not have a money saving tip, but we will have 5 videos. Oh, there's a little birdie stuck in here. Come on, little birdie. Come out. But every week we will have 5 videos in the month of March. So don't forget to subscribe. But today I've decided that the money saving tip, we will concentrate on chickens. We have a good flock, but some are getting older, so we're gonna probably call those this year. That means what we're gonna need to do is raise a few chicks for laying hens. To do that, I have saved a incubator full, and these girls. Hi, Elvis. An incubator full of eggs, and we're gonna set those eggs in. We're gonna set these eggs in the incubator as soon as we get these chickens fed. Another money saving tip is these. We found these, throwing them away because the bottoms was busted. So what we did, we got these, and I used a plain old bucket lid and fixed it to be able to use feeder. That's a good money saving tip. Don't throw, if you have these and the bottoms are busted, don't throw them away. You can always fix them. Well, maybe not always, but you can fix them and it works perfectly. Okay, now that the chickens are fed, we're going to go on inside and set our eggs in the incubator. I've been saving eggs just for a couple days. I have over like 48. I like the chickens that we have, and I'm saving the eggs like out of the marans. And then that way I know all my roosters are silkies. So I do know that the breed will probably stay small. But also that just because they're not meat birds doesn't mean you can't eat them. If you have way too many, like if you have too many roosters or anything after you get done hatching. So what we're aiming for is some hens, but you always know that you're going to have roosters. So we'll go on in. So these are my marans, and these are probably Wyandottes, and those are the eggs I'm going to be setting in the incubator. This incubator has been on for 24 hours. It's acclimated to the temperature within the house and within the incubator. The humidity is down a little bit, so I will be adding water as I put these in there. Don't forget, use distilled water, and that way it protects your incubator from any minerals or buildup that your water might have. We have really hard water here, so In order to keep my incubator working properly, I'm going to be using distilled water. Now, chicken eggs, they need to be at 100.5, so it's like 38 Celsius. And the humidity for the first 17 days needs to be at 50 to 55. And I tried to set it up in our bedroom, and it stays a lot cooler in there. So the temperature wasn't coming up, but the humidity was fine. So I had to bring it out here into the living room, which is okay. I'll just have to keep an eye on it more so it doesn't beep and wake everybody up in the middle of the night. But this incubator in particular already has a turner in it, and so I won't be having to turn the eggs every day. It's already going to do it for me. It will do it every 2 hours. I'll show you. It's turning now, ever so slightly, and then it goes back. So now all that's left is putting your eggs in. Always make sure they're pointy and down. Some of the eggs will be a little harder to tell. They're rounded, but you'll always tell which one's more pointier than the round. So I'll go ahead and turn this off, get the eggs in the incubator, put the lid back on, wait for it to get done beeping, and I will show you. Put this there. I'll unplug the turner. Right there. And just start loading your eggs. Now I've saved quite a few. Probably not gonna use them all. Always go for that one's cracked, so I won't be using that one. Always make sure you look about your eggs as you're putting them in here. You don't want cracked eggs going into your incubator, because then they're just going to spoil. You definitely don't want washed eggs either. Then washed eggs takes the bloom, the protective coating off the eggs, and you want to make sure they are fairly clean, but do not wash them in water. After these are done, we are going to be hatching quails also. So what I'm doing is I'm just gandering at the eggs, making sure they're not, see, there's one of those, you're not sure, it's kinda, but you can see it's pointing a little bit on that end, so. One more dozen. So I am going to do this little Bantam egg because it is from Reese's, and I hatched her out last year, and it's the only one we kept out of last year's. So I was anxious to see what she would give. Okay. So now we have the incubator loaded. I'm going to add a little bit more distilled water. Just to make sure that gets up to temperature. I'm going to plug the turner back in. Set the roof back on, making sure it's all sealed, and turning it back on. It'll take a while. See, it's beeping. It'll take a bit for it to come back up to temperature and to humidity. That's okay. But after it does, you want to make sure the humidity and temperature stays at the optimum so your eggs will hatch. The eggs are in the incubator, and now I'm going to work in the tunnel because it's really warm today. But hatching your own eggs is a really good way of saving money on the homestead, on the farm, to rejuvenate your flock. And if you get a whole bunch of roosters, then you can just call them and use them in soups and stews. There might not be as much meat on them as the Cornish cross, but there's still going to be plenty of meat on them for soup and bone broth and anything else. Well, thanks for hanging out with me for this homesteading tip on how to save money with your chickens. And also you can, you'll be able to sell eggs if you have an abundance, if you have a market for them, or you could just keep hatching them off however you want. And also don't forget that you can preserve your eggs different ways too, in the freezer, in lime water. Thanks for hanging out with me today, y'all. Y'all come back.